Westbrook University was one of the most respected universities in the country. Its tall buildings, green gardens, and busy classrooms always gave a sense of pride to students and visitors. Among the students was Camel, a young man with a quiet confidence. Camel was not born into wealth or privilege, but he had something that money could not buy: determination and a love for learning. He was especially passionate about speaking, arguing, and debating ideas. Camel spent long hours in the library. He read books about politics, science, history, and philosophy. He watched old debates online to study how speakers convinced audiences. He practiced speaking in front of mirrors and even recorded his voice to improve his tone and pace. For Camel, debating was not just a skill, it was a way to share ideas with the world. One morning, the university posted a large notice on the bulletin board. It was about the national debate competition, an event that would bring students from all over the country to compete. The competition was famous, and winning it could change a student's life. Camel's eyes lit up as he read the announcement. He knew this was his chance to shine. Excited, Camel went straight to Dr. Hammond's office. Dr. Hammond was a well-known professor at the university. He had trained many of the university's top debaters. His words were respected, and his approval was often necessary for students who wanted to participate in prestigious events. Camel knocked on the door and entered carefully. "Professor Hammond, I would like to take part in the national debate competition. I have been preparing for months. I am confident I can represent the university well," Camel said, trying to keep his voice steady but polite. Dr. Hammond looked at Camel for a long moment. He had sharp eyes and a serious face. Then he shook his head slowly. "Camel, I don't think you are ready for this competition. Perhaps you should focus on other activities instead," he said in a cold tone. Camel felt a tight knot in his chest. He had expected some challenge, maybe even a test, but he did not expect to be dismissed without a second thought. Other students in the hall looked at him with surprise. They knew Camel was talented. They had seen him speak clearly, confidently, and persuasively in smaller debates. Camel nodded silently, trying to hide his disappointment. He left the office, walking through the crowded corridors. As he passed other students, some whispered, "Did Dr. Hammond really say no to Camel, and he should be the one representing us? He is amazing." Camel heard their words, but he did not let them distract him. When he reached his small dorm room, he sat on his bed and took a deep breath. Camel had two choices. He could feel defeated, or he could use this rejection as motivation. He chose the second option. He opened his notebook and started writing down all the arguments he had prepared. He practiced speaking aloud, making sure every word was clear and every idea strong. Even though Dr. Hammond had ignored him, Camel decided that he would not wait for permission to prove his talent. He reached out to other students who were interested in debating. Together, they formed a small team. They met every evening in the library or in quiet classrooms, practicing speeches, asking questions, and giving feedback. Camel worked on his arguments with great care, making sure they were solid, logical, and persuasive. Outside, the city was alive with lights, cars, and people going about their lives. Camel looked out of his dorm window and felt a quiet determination growing inside him. He promised himself that he would not be ignored or underestimated. His skills, hard work, and dedication would speak louder than any words from a professor. For Camel, this was not just about winning a competition. It was about proving that talent and determination could overcome prejudice and doubt. Every day, he repeated his speeches in front of the mirror. Every night, he read more books and notes. And every moment, he reminded himself that true preparation and confidence could open doors, even if some people refused to see his potential. By the end of the week, Camel's confidence had grown stronger. He felt ready for anything, even if the university's elite professor continued to ignore him. He knew that the road ahead would not be easy, but he was prepared to face every challenge. Deep down, Camel believed that one day, his words would reach everyone, and the world would have no choice but to notice him. The next morning, Camel woke up feeling more determined than ever. Although Dr. Hammond had refused him, Camel knew there were other ways to prove his abilities. He packed his bag and went to the campus library. The library was quiet, filled with rows of books and students focused on their studies. Camel liked the calm atmosphere. Here, he could think, plan, and practice without any distractions. As he walked between the shelves, Camel noticed a poster on the notice board. It read, Inter-College Debate Challenge, Open Registration. Top speakers will be noticed by national judges. His eyes widened. This was an opportunity he had never considered. Unlike the national debate competition, this event did not require approval from any professor. Any student who registered could participate. Camel felt a rush of excitement. Here was a chance to show his skills to a wider audience, without needing permission. He quickly noted down the details and started preparing. He knew the competition would be tough. Students from other colleges were known for their excellent debating skills. But Camel also knew that he had spent months preparing. He had knowledge, practice, and confidence on his side. Over the next few days, Camel devoted himself to preparation. He refined his arguments, wrote clear points, and practiced responding to possible questions. He also practiced speaking in front of small groups of friends who gave him honest feedback. Every day, Camel's confidence grew stronger. One afternoon, as Camel practiced in the empty lecture hall, he heard footsteps behind him. Turning around, he saw Mina, a fellow student known for her sharp mind and calm presence. "Camel, I see you are practicing again," she said with a small smile. "I am joining the Inter-College Debate Challenge too. Maybe we can practice together." Camel felt encouraged. Practicing with Mina was different. She asked questions he had never considered and helped him think about his arguments from new angles. Together, they worked on strategies, timing, and tone. By the end of the week, Camel felt stronger than ever. The day of the Inter-College Debate Challenge finally arrived. The auditorium was full of students, teachers, and judges. Camel's heart beat fast as he entered. He saw students from different colleges, some confident, some nervous. He reminded himself to stay focused and calm. When it was his turn, Camel walked to the stage. The lights were bright, and the audience was silent. He took a deep breath and began speaking. His voice was clear, steady, and persuasive. He presented his arguments with logic, passion, and confidence. He listened carefully to the questions from judges and responded calmly, answering every point without hesitation. The audience began to react positively. They nodded at his points, whispered among themselves, and some even applauded quietly. Camel felt a wave of energy. His hard work, practice, and determination were paying off. By the end of the session, the judges were impressed. They whispered to each other, took notes, and smiled. Camel knew he had done well. Even though he did not know the results yet, he felt proud of himself. As he stepped off the stage, Mina gave him a congratulatory smile. "You were amazing, Camel. You really showed everyone your talent." Camel smiled back, feeling a warm sense of achievement. A few hours later, the results were announced. Camel's name was called as one of the top speakers. The judges praised his clarity, knowledge, and confidence. Students and teachers from other colleges came to congratulate him. For the first time, Camel felt that all his hard work was truly recognized. Back at Westbrook University, news of Camel's performance spread quickly. Some students told Dr. Hammond about the competition and how well Camel had done. When Camel returned to the campus library later, he saw groups of students talking about his achievement. For the first time, Camel noticed a subtle shift in how some people looked at him. Respect, rather than doubt, filled their eyes. That evening, Camel sat quietly in his dorm room. He reflected on the past few days. Rejection from Dr. Hammond had hurt, but it had also pushed him to find another path. By believing in himself and working hard, he had created his own opportunity. Camel realized that talent and preparation could not be hidden forever. Even if someone ignored or underestimated him, his abilities would shine through. This experience gave him more confidence and motivation. He knew that the future held even bigger challenges, and he was ready to face them. Camel also learned an important lesson: sometimes, doors that seem closed lead to better opportunities. Instead of feeling defeated, he had turned a rejection into a chance to prove himself on a larger stage. As night fell, Camel looked out of the window at the city lights. He felt proud and calm. He had started as a student ignored by a professor, but he had grown into someone who could stand tall in front of any audience. The journey was only beginning, and Camel was ready for the next challenge. After the Inter-College Debate Challenge, Camel returned to Westbrook University with a quiet pride. Students and even some professors had started noticing his talent. People who once ignored him now spoke with respect. However, Camel knew that recognition was only the beginning. He wanted to reach the highest level of debate, the national debate competition, the one Dr. Hammond had refused him. Camel spent the next few days practicing harder than ever. He refined his arguments, learning to respond to unexpected questions quickly. He also practiced speaking with clarity and emotion, making sure every word could capture an audience. Mina continued to support him, and together, they ran through mock debates that were almost like real competitions. Meanwhile, Dr. Hammond had heard about Camel's performance at the Inter-College Debate Challenge. He was surprised. The young student who he had dismissed had impressed judges, students, and teachers from other colleges. Dr. Hammond felt a twinge of regret but did not show it. He wanted Camel to prove himself under his guidance, so he called Camel to his office. "Camel, I heard about your recent success," Dr. Hammond said, his voice calm but firm. "I must admit, I underestimated your abilities. The national debate competition is coming soon. I am selecting my team now. If you are willing, I can include you." Camel listened carefully. He felt a mix of emotions. Part of him wanted to accept the offer and finally prove himself on the biggest stage. But another part of him remembered the cold dismissal he had received before. He took a deep breath and said, "Thank you, Professor. I appreciate the opportunity, but I have learned that I do not need permission to show my skills. I am preparing to enter the competition independently." Dr. Hammond's eyes widened slightly. He had not expected Camel to refuse his guidance. Camel left the office, feeling calm and confident. He knew he had the skills, preparation, and determination to succeed on his own. Over the next few days, Camel focused entirely on preparation. He studied the rules of the national debate competition carefully and anticipated potential topics. He wrote detailed notes, created clear arguments, and practiced rebuttals for every possible question. He also worked on his confidence, making sure his voice and gestures could hold the attention of a large audience. Mina joined him every evening. Together, they ran practice debates that simulated real competition conditions. They timed their speeches, tested each other with rapid questions, and reviewed every mistake to improve. Camel's confidence grew with every session. Finally, the day of the national debate competition arrived. The hall was massive, filled with students, teachers, judges, and visitors. Camel entered calmly, carrying his notes and confidence. He saw other competitors, some from prestigious schools, and felt no fear. He had prepared too well to be nervous. When Camel's turn came, he stepped onto the stage. The lights were bright, and the audience was silent. He began speaking with clarity, presenting his arguments in a logical and persuasive manner. He answered questions from judges carefully, responding quickly and thoughtfully. The audience leaned forward, listening to every word. Backstage, Mina watched proudly. Camel's words were precise, confident, and powerful. He had transformed months of preparation and practice into a performance that left no doubt about his abilities. After several rounds of intense debate, the judges announced the winners. Camel had made it to the final round. His final opponent was a strong debater from another college. Camel listened carefully to the opponent's points, responded with well-thought-out rebuttals, and used his voice and gestures to emphasize key ideas. The audience reacted positively. They applauded when Camel made a strong argument, nodded at his clear reasoning, and whispered among themselves about his impressive performance. Camel remained calm. He knew that confidence and preparation were his greatest tools. At the end of the competition, the judges praised Camel for his knowledge, clarity, and persuasive ability. They called his performance exceptional, highlighting how he had anticipated questions and handled them with precision. Camel felt a deep sense of achievement. He had entered a competition that many thought he could not succeed in, and he had proven himself without depending on anyone's approval. Meanwhile, Dr. Hammond watched from the audience. He realized that Camel had not only succeeded but had also done so independently. Dr. Hammond felt genuine regret for having dismissed him earlier. He knew he had underestimated a student who had worked tirelessly to achieve excellence. Camel left the stage quietly, holding his head high. He had learned that hard work, preparation, and self-belief could overcome doubt and dismissal. The respect of judges, peers, and even former skeptics was now his reward. He also understood that challenges and rejections could lead to unexpected opportunities, and facing them with determination made the victory even more meaningful. That evening, Camel and Mina walked through the quiet campus. The lights reflected in their eyes, and a gentle breeze carried the feeling of success. Camel smiled. He knew this was only the beginning. Bigger challenges were waiting, but he felt ready to face them with courage and determination. After the national debate competition, Camel returned to Westbrook University with a quiet pride and a sense of accomplishment. The event had been challenging, but he had proved to himself and others that hard work, determination, and preparation were stronger than bias or doubt. His success made him popular among students, and many began seeking his advice on debating and public speaking. Despite the recognition, Camel remained humble. He knew that there was always more to learn and new challenges to face. One afternoon, while walking through the campus garden, he saw a notice on the bulletin board. It announced the Inter-University Debate Summit, an event that brought together top students from all over the country. The winners of the summit would be considered for national scholarships and prestigious programs. Camel felt a surge of excitement. This was an even bigger stage than the last competition. It was a chance to show his skills to a wider audience and to further prove his abilities. However, he also knew the competition would be tougher. Students from elite universities, some trained by famous coaches, would be participating. Camel smiled quietly. He had faced difficult challenges before, and he was ready to face this one too. He returned to his dorm room and began preparing immediately. He created a detailed study plan, practiced speeches, and anticipated difficult questions. Mina joined him once again, and together they ran through mock debates, improving speed, accuracy, and clarity. Camel's confidence grew with every practice session. Meanwhile, Dr. Hammond had been watching Camel's progress quietly. The professor felt a mixture of admiration and regret. He had underestimated Camel before, but now it was clear that the student had extraordinary talent. Dr. Hammond wanted to reach out and mentor him, but he hesitated. He knew that Camel had proven he could succeed independently. The day of the Inter-University Debate Summit arrived. The auditorium was enormous, filled with students, judges, and visitors from different universities. Camel walked onto the stage with confidence. He noticed the other competitors, all looking determined and focused. He reminded himself that preparation and calmness were more important than appearances. Camel's first round was challenging. The topic required critical thinking and quick responses. Camel spoke clearly, presenting his ideas logically and with confidence. When judges asked questions, he answered calmly, using examples and reasoning to support his points. The audience reacted positively, nodding and listening attentively. Between rounds, Camel noticed Dr. Hammond sitting quietly at the back of the auditorium. The professor watched with careful attention. Camel felt a mix of surprise and calm. He realized that Dr. Hammond was now witnessing the results of his hard work and determination. As the competition continued, Camel faced stronger opponents. Each debate required quick thinking, strong arguments, and composure. Camel relied on everything he had practiced, and his efforts paid off. His ability to respond to unexpected questions impressed the judges, and his clear and persuasive speech captured the attention of the audience. Finally, Camel reached the final round. The topic was complex, requiring a balance of logic, creativity, and emotion. His opponent was a student from a highly ranked university, known for excellence in debating. Camel listened carefully to each point, responded with strong rebuttals, and spoke with calm confidence. His words were precise, well organized, and persuasive. The audience reacted with admiration, and the judges took careful notes. After the final round, the judges discussed the results. Camel's performance was praised for clarity, reasoning, and confidence. They called him an outstanding debater and highlighted how he had handled difficult questions with skill and composure. When the results were announced, Camel had won the summit. The applause was loud and genuine. Students from different universities congratulated him, and teachers praised his efforts. Camel felt a sense of fulfillment. His hard work, determination, and patience had brought him to this moment. Dr. Hammond approached him after the event. "Camel," he said quietly, "I underestimated your abilities before. I was wrong to dismiss you. Today, you have shown remarkable skill, focus, and determination. I am proud to see your success." Camel smiled politely. "Thank you, Professor. I have learned that dedication and preparation are stronger than doubt or dismissal. Success comes from hard work, not approval." Dr. Hammond nodded thoughtfully. He realized that Camel's journey was a lesson for everyone, including himself. Talent and determination could not be ignored. He promised himself that he would support students in the future without letting bias or judgment interfere. That evening, Camel returned to his dorm room with a calm joy. He had faced challenges, rejection, and doubt, but he had turned every obstacle into an opportunity. He knew that the path ahead would bring even bigger challenges, but he felt ready to face them. Camel also understood an important lesson: respect and recognition are earned through action, not given through favoritism. He had proven that talent, preparation, and persistence could overcome any obstacle. His journey had just begun, and the future was full of possibilities. After winning the Inter-University Debate Summit, Camel felt both proud and focused. He knew that success was not an endpoint but a stepping stone. More challenges awaited, and he was determined to face them with the same preparation and confidence that had brought him this far. One morning, while walking to the library, Camel noticed a flyer pinned on a board. It announced the International Debate Championship, an event where the best students from around the world would compete. The competition was famous and very challenging, requiring not only knowledge but creativity and quick thinking. Camel's heart raced. This was the ultimate opportunity, a stage even bigger than anything he had faced before. Camel knew the preparation for such a competition would be demanding. He would need to study new topics, practice advanced argument techniques, and anticipate international standards. He immediately shared the news with Mina, who had been his partner and supporter since the first competition. "We can do this," Mina said with a confident smile. "We have worked hard before, and we can do it again. This time, we will practice even more." Camel nodded. He felt motivated by her confidence. They started preparing immediately. Every evening, they gathered in quiet rooms, running practice debates, testing each other with challenging questions, and analyzing international debate styles. Camel focused on his voice, tone, and timing, making sure every word had impact. Mina helped him think creatively and adapt arguments to different audiences. Meanwhile, Dr. Hammond had been following Camel's journey from a distance. The professor realized that the student he had once ignored was now a true force in debating. He decided to observe the International Debate Championship without interfering, curious to see how Camel would perform on a global stage. The day of the International Debate Championship finally arrived. Camel and Mina traveled to the competition city, feeling a mixture of excitement and nervous energy. The venue was massive, filled with students from different countries, judges, and audience members. Camel walked in quietly, feeling calm yet alert. He knew preparation and focus were his strongest allies. The first rounds were intense. Students from various countries presented arguments with sharp logic and excellent delivery. Camel carefully listened to each speaker, taking notes in his mind, and preparing responses. When it was his turn, he spoke clearly and confidently, presenting arguments that were logical, persuasive, and respectful. He answered questions from judges calmly, demonstrating both knowledge and quick thinking. Audience members began to notice Camel's talent. They leaned forward, listened attentively, and responded positively to his points. Camel remained focused, knowing that confidence and preparation were more important than applause. Mina, watching from the side, gave him encouraging nods and smiles. As the competition progressed, the rounds became even more challenging. Camel faced opponents who were clever, experienced, and skilled. Each debate required quick thinking, creative arguments, and composure. Camel remembered all his previous training, stayed calm, and responded with precision. His ability to remain focused under pressure impressed both the judges and the audience. Finally, Camel reached the championship round. The topic was complex, requiring balance, creativity, and logic. His opponent was a top student from another country, known for excellence in debate. Camel listened carefully, analyzed every point, and spoke with clarity and confidence. His rebuttals were strong and well-structured, his arguments persuasive and precise. The audience responded with admiration, and the judges took careful notes. After the final round, the judges deliberated. Camel's performance was praised as outstanding. They highlighted his ability to anticipate questions, respond thoughtfully, and speak confidently in front of an international audience. When the results were announced, Camel had won the championship. The applause was thunderous. Students and teachers from different countries came to congratulate him. Mina hugged him proudly, and Camel felt a deep sense of accomplishment. Months of hard work, preparation, and persistence had led to this moment. Back in the audience, Dr. Hammond quietly stood, watching Camel's triumph. He felt genuine pride and a lesson learned. He realized that dismissing a student based on doubt or bias was a mistake. Talent and determination could not be ignored. Dr. Hammond made a silent promise to support students fairly in the future. Camel smiled, feeling calm and fulfilled. He had faced rejection, bias, and challenges, but he had turned every obstacle into an opportunity. The respect of judges, peers, and mentors was now his, earned through dedication and hard work. That evening, Camel and Mina walked through the city, enjoying the quiet lights and cool air. Camel reflected on his journey. He understood that preparation, self-belief, and persistence were stronger than doubt or dismissal. The challenges ahead were still waiting, but he felt ready to face them, knowing that success comes to those who work diligently and never give up. Camel's journey had not just been about winning competitions. It was about proving that talent, focus, and perseverance could overcome obstacles and bias. He had learned that every challenge was an opportunity to grow and that respect and recognition were earned through action. After winning the International Debate Championship, Camel returned to Westbrook University with a quiet sense of pride. His journey had been long, filled with challenges, practice, and moments of doubt. Yet, he had faced each obstacle with patience, focus, and determination. However, Camel knew that success in competitions was only part of life. True growth came from facing unexpected challenges that tested not only skill but also character. One morning, as Camel walked to the library, he overheard students talking about a community debate initiative. The project was organized by local schools, inviting university students to mentor and guide younger students in debate and public speaking. Camel felt a pull in his heart. This was an opportunity to give back, to help students who were eager to learn but lacked guidance. He decided to join, even though it would take time away from his own preparation for future competitions. He wanted to share the lessons he had learned and help others grow. The first session was challenging. Camel entered a local school, where young students were nervous and hesitant. They were shy, unsure of their skills, and afraid of speaking in front of others. Camel smiled warmly, introducing himself and explaining that learning to speak clearly and confidently was a journey. He encouraged them to try, make mistakes, and improve every day. At first, the students were hesitant. Some whispered among themselves, unsure if they could succeed. Camel patiently guided them, showing how to structure arguments, express ideas clearly, and respond to questions. He demonstrated with small exercises, letting the students practice speaking aloud in a safe and supportive environment. Over the weeks, Camel returned to the school regularly. He noticed progress. Students who were once shy began raising their hands, speaking with more confidence, and even challenging each other in friendly debates. Camel felt proud. His guidance was making a real difference, and he realized that mentoring was as rewarding as competing. One afternoon, a situation tested Camel's patience. A student named Rafiq struggled to grasp the basics of debate. He grew frustrated, shouting and giving up after a few attempts. Camel remained calm, kneeling beside him and speaking gently. "Rafiq, everyone learns at a different pace. The important thing is to try and keep going. Mistakes are part of learning." Rafiq looked at Camel, uncertain at first. Then he nodded slowly and tried again. Camel guided him step by step, showing how to form arguments and respond to questions. By the end of the session, Rafiq had made significant progress. Camel felt a quiet joy, understanding that patience and encouragement could unlock potential in others. Meanwhile, news of Camel's mentorship spread through the university. Students and teachers admired his willingness to give time and energy to younger learners. Even Dr. Hammond took notice. He watched quietly as Camel guided students with care, skill, and humility. The professor realized that Camel's talent extended beyond debating. It included leadership, patience, and the ability to inspire others. One evening, after a long day at the community school, Camel returned to his dorm room exhausted but fulfilled. He reflected on his journey. Winning competitions had brought him recognition, but helping others had brought him a deeper sense of purpose. He understood that true success was not only about personal achievement but also about lifting others along the way. Camel also learned an important lesson about character. Talent alone was not enough. Patience, empathy, and the ability to encourage others were equally valuable. He felt grateful for the challenges he had faced, the guidance he had received from Mina, and the lessons he had learned through competition. As night fell, Camel sat by the window, looking at the quiet campus. The city lights glimmered, and a soft breeze carried the feeling of calm determination. He knew that the next chapter of his journey would bring new challenges, both in debating and in life. But he also knew he was ready, strengthened not only by skill and preparation but also by experience, patience, and the ability to lead with kindness. Camel smiled to himself. He had started as a student overlooked by a professor, facing rejection and doubt. Now, he had grown into a young man respected by peers, mentors, and even his former doubters. His journey was far from over, but he had learned that perseverance, confidence, and empathy could turn obstacles into opportunities. Mentoring the students had also given him a new perspective on success. It was no longer just about winning trophies or competitions. It was about using knowledge and skills to help others grow, to inspire confidence, and to create positive change. Camel felt a quiet pride that surpassed any award he had ever received. That night, he prepared for the next day with renewed energy. He knew bigger challenges awaited, but he also knew that with patience, practice, and purpose, he could face them all. Camel had become more than a debater. He had become a mentor, a leader, and a source of inspiration for others. The final chapter of Camel's journey began with an announcement that brought both excitement and challenge. Westbrook University would host the Global Young Debaters Championship, a prestigious competition bringing together the best students from around the world. Winners would gain recognition, scholarships, and opportunities to mentor internationally. Camel knew this would be the ultimate test of his skills, preparation, and patience. Camel and Mina immediately began preparing. The competition required not only logic and reasoning but also creativity and quick adaptation. Every day, they practiced tirelessly. Camel refined his arguments, anticipating questions from a diverse international panel of judges. He also focused on clarity, tone, and gestures, knowing that effective communication was just as important as strong reasoning. Mina noticed Camel's intensity but also his calm focus. "You are ready," she said. "You have grown so much since the first competition. Trust yourself, Camel. You will shine." Camel smiled. He appreciated Mina's support. Together, they ran through mock debates that simulated international conditions. They practiced responding to unexpected questions, thinking on their feet, and presenting ideas in a clear, persuasive manner. Camel's confidence grew with every session. When the day of the Global Young Debaters Championship arrived, Camel felt a mixture of nerves and excitement. The auditorium was enormous, with students from different countries, judges, and a large audience. Camel took a deep breath and reminded himself that preparation and focus were his strongest tools. The first rounds were intense. Competitors spoke with precision, logic, and charisma. Camel listened carefully, took mental notes, and responded with confidence and clarity. He presented arguments that were well structured and persuasive, answered questions thoughtfully, and addressed counterpoints with calm reasoning. Audience members and judges began noticing his skill and poise. Between rounds, Camel noticed Dr. Hammond sitting quietly in the audience. The professor had followed Camel's journey silently and watched him grow from a dismissed student into a skilled and confident debater. Dr. Hammond felt a mixture of pride and humility, realizing the student had surpassed his expectations without needing his approval. As the competition advanced, Camel faced stronger opponents. Students from elite schools demonstrated advanced debating techniques and persuasive delivery. Camel remained focused, relying on his preparation, experience, and the lessons learned from past competitions. Every argument he made was clear, logical, and compelling. He stayed calm under pressure, listening carefully to his opponent and responding effectively. Finally, Camel reached the championship round. The topic was challenging, requiring both logic and creativity. His opponent was a student from another country, well known for debate excellence. Camel carefully listened, analyzed the points, and responded with precision. His speech was confident, persuasive, and full of reasoning. He answered every question thoughtfully, maintaining a calm and composed presence. The audience reacted positively, impressed by Camel's clarity and depth. Judges took careful notes, nodding in approval. Camel's preparation and experience allowed him to handle unexpected questions and respond in a way that was both persuasive and respectful. After the final round, The judges discussed the results. Camel's performance was praised as exceptional. They highlighted his ability to remain calm under pressure, anticipate questions, respond logically, and communicate effectively to an international audience. When the results were announced, Camel had won the Global Young Debaters Championship. The audience erupted in applause. Students from different countries came forward to congratulate him. Mina hugged him proudly, and Camel felt a deep sense of achievement. His journey, which began with rejection and doubt, had now reached the highest stage of success. Dr. Hammond approached him quietly. "Camel," he said, "I underestimated you at the beginning. I doubted your abilities, and I was wrong. Today, you have proven that talent, determination, and hard work can overcome any obstacle. I am proud of what you have achieved." Camel smiled respectfully. "Thank you, Professor. I have learned that success comes from preparation, patience, and believing in yourself. Rejection and doubt can be turned into motivation if you keep working hard." Dr. Hammond nodded, realizing the lesson was not only for him but for every student he would teach in the future. He understood that encouragement and fair judgment were vital for nurturing talent, and he silently promised to change his approach with students. That evening, Camel returned to his dorm room, reflecting on his journey. From a student ignored by a professor to an international champion, he had grown not only in skill but also in patience, humility, and leadership. Mentoring younger students had taught him empathy and the importance of helping others. Winning competitions had taught him perseverance and self-confidence. Camel understood that true success was not just about recognition, trophies, or applause. It was about growing through challenges, helping others, and using talent wisely. He had proven that determination, preparation, and integrity were stronger than doubt and bias. Looking out of the window, Camel smiled. The city lights shone like stars, and he felt a calm joy. The journey had been long, but every challenge had shaped him into the person he had become. Bigger challenges awaited in the future, but Camel was ready. He knew he could face anything with confidence, focus, and kindness. Camel had started as a student overlooked, doubted, and dismissed. Now, he had become a champion, a mentor, and a source of inspiration. His journey proved that hard work, belief in oneself, and the courage to keep going could overcome any obstacle. The respect and admiration he earned were a result of his actions, and he understood that his story could inspire others to follow their own path, no matter the doubts or challenges they faced.